We're here to win. Who cares what people think? This is our game. This is our family. This is our team. We're going to do it.
Hey, Reggie Cannon was jacked. Let's get to the highlights from this wild match in Seattle. CenturyLink packed to the gills, Kalen, and it started how they wanted it to.
Well, Wiebe, it looked a little bit like it took Dallas some time to figure out their system because they came out a little bit more aggressive and tried to press, but left some gaping holes in the back. And you think against an experienced side like Seattle, there was no way back until this moment here. Reggie Cannon, who came into the game with that attitude, finds an important goal for them, and then the set piece gets them back in this. And then here you think, okay, Jordan Morris, here you go. This might be a good night for Dallas, but they just never gave up. They kept fighting FC Dallas. They were the better team in the second half, and through a lot of extra time, if not for a few Stephen Fry saves, this game would have been over. But this ball, when it's a player's in form, sometimes the ball finds the right person. And for Seattle Sounders, that was Jordan Morris.
That's a fitting way to have this game be won. Ball bouncing off people, wild, crazy, all of us jumping up, screaming, running in circles in the studio. That's what they're doing on the field as well. 4-3. Seattle Sounders, maybe, just maybe, they will get a little Cascadia flavor in the next round. We shall see in, about an hour and 10 minutes or so. Charlie, Benny, what'd you think?
I mean, I really thought that Dallas came out. They need to learn how to make this game successful for themselves. And at the beginning, it was all Seattle, and it took them some time to adjust. And once they did, and they started connecting passes, they built that confidence, and then they started taking it to Seattle.
All right, Seattle, 4-3 winners. Let's go out to CenturyLink Field. Let's chat via Susanna Collins with Stephen Fry and Jordan Morris, our AT&T call to the field.
All right, Steph, I know that you have been a part of some wild playoff matches before, but this one felt like an instant classic from your perspective in goal. How would you describe this match?
Not the best game to be part of as a goalkeeper with all these goals, but happy to come out on top. I mean, difficult game. I thought we started the game really well, actually, but then kind of took our foot off the pedal. Maybe that was our mistake. Let him back into the game, but happy that Jordan finds confidence with 3 goals, obviously. But happy that we were able to come out on top and move on.
Well, you mentioned Jordan Morris, a hat trick for him. Considering what he has been through, his journey, missing all of last season, how much does it mean for him and to you guys as a team for him to be able to contribute this way?
Oh, it's massive. When he's firing on all cylinders, he's a weapon and one that is very, very difficult to play against. He can go in behind, he can shoot, he can do the dirty work for his teammates. He's a team player, so he's willing to do those things as well. So really, really fun and happy to have him, obviously, part of our squad.
You have been so good this season. You're in contention for Comeback Player of the Year. To be able to contribute for your team the way you have done, especially in these big moments, personally, what does it mean to you?
Yeah, I mean, last year was really tough, and I just wanted to be back on the field playing. So to be back out here in front of these fans playing in the playoffs like this is, last 2 playoffs I've been hurt. So to play in a game like this and have this atmosphere, I missed it. So I'm just grateful to be back out on the field.
Jordan Morris' first playoff goal since 2016. That's what sends the Seattle Sounders on. 2nd seed winners over the 7th seed. Benny, this is what we expected. This is what we got.
It wasn't how we expected it.
No, it wasn't.
I think we all, like we said, were ready for a blowout once it was 2-0 early on. Dallas looked a little bit lost, and Seattle were rolling. But Dallas found that goal through Reggie Cannon, came back twice, and eventually, Jordan Morris was able to cap it off with a hat trick on his head. And so, it's a big win for Seattle, but I think they should be a little bit worried with how it went down. And I feel like you could almost sense it in Stephen Fry's voice that he wasn't ecstatic about how the game went. Happy to move on, but they're going to have to fix some things, I think, moving forward.
We will talk more about this matchup tomorrow after we know the result of RSL Portland. Let's focus a little bit more on Jordan Morris, though, because to get his first hat trick in this game, in this environment, we'll start with the goal scorer. That's you, Charlie Davies.
Yeah, one we could talk about is celebrations, right? You score a hat trick, your first career hat trick in the playoffs. I expect some epic celebration.
Are you nitpicking right now?
All right.
Oh, come on.
Just a little bit. No, but this is a player. This is a player I've always been excited about, especially when he came onto the scene with the U.S. Women's National Team. His power, his pace, the way he can just run, relentless at attacking defenders, and he makes great runs. You see here, always making those late hard runs into the box, and he puts his shots on goal. When he does this, he's so difficult to deal with. And if they can utilize him throughout the playoffs, they're going to be very tough to stop. We've seen him with being inconsistent, his play, being involved with Rui Diaz. But when Rui Diaz can stay high and then occupy those center backs, it allows Jordan Morris to shine.
Yeah, and I think coming off the injury, having an ACL, it takes some time to trust your body and get back to it. And you're seeing in the second half of the season after the Gold Cup, he's become a more confident player as well, and just added that extra little bit. The same finish. It wasn't an amazing first goal, but it was the same finish he did with the national team, where maybe in years past he tries to take it with his right foot. This time he just takes an extra little second, sizes up the goalkeeper, recognizes the near post is open there, and able to finish it. So that confidence right now, and then the size. I mean, he's definitely put on some weight, as you do, because you're just in the weight room recovering from an ACL, except for me. Everybody except for me. I tried my best. I couldn't do it. But even just that presence in the box, it's a simple thing, but just standing on the goalkeeper, it's a play where you're alert, you seal off the defender, you get in front, that's how you find yourself a goal.
That's the speed for the Sounders. Benny, how does that change the way they play? Because we know Nico Ladera, we know Raul Rui Diaz in the box, but it was always a question mark of who that third guy was going to be. It's pretty clearly Jordan Morris.
Yeah, I think with him and Brad Smith on the left side, they tend to overload it, and they tried to in the first half a little bit. I think Brad Smith kind of wore down a little bit and got tired, and I think that's why they sub in, or actually they put Jovan Jones there at one point. But that side of their attack is really potent with the speed.
2 calls late on, or no calls, depending on how you're looking at these, might have also changed this game. And FC Dallas, so they have to be proud of what they did, are probably looking back a little bit and thinking, what happened here? This one, maybe they don't want to look back at, because we both looked at this, or all of us, and said, how is this not a couple red cards here? Nuhu Tola with his hands to the neck, and then a push from Jesse Gonzalez. And then this is a big one. What do we think of this? Is this a handball or no?
Well, this is the one I wanted to see reviewed at least, and they took a corner kick so quickly, we didn't really get a chance to look at it. But for such a decisive moment, with that type of implications, you would think the referee would stop the match and allow it to go to review.
It's got to be looked at. I mean, at the very least, it's got to be looked at.
It is. It is checked. Remember, it is being checked by the video assistant referee. So somebody did look at it. They just didn't decide to review it.
But Dallas played the corner kick so quickly that I don't think the ref has to stop it at some point, right?
Yes, the ref blow the whistle and say, hold on.
They couldn't have checked it in the time.
That's a controversial play. Hold on. Let me make sure that my ref is checking it out.
All right. I hear you on the theory here.
Okay.
Tell me what you think of that call when you see that replay right there.
I'll say this. Having said all this, actually looking back on it, I don't think it was a handball. It looks like it hit him right in the top of the shoulder, but I think he was really lucky because I don't think he knew where that ball was exactly, and he's flailing his arms a little bit. If it hits him in the arm, that's a handball.
I'm going to go with shoulder, bicep, upper bicep.
A little bit of both.
The thing is, if they call a penalty kick, they're not taking it away. It's going to stick. But if they don't call it, I don't think there's enough to reverse the decision. So it was either way. Whatever the ref saw at that moment, whatever decision he was going to make, that was going to be the final one.
So much drama in this game. Over and over and over, we were just kind of rubbing our eyes in disbelief. Kalen Carr making beelines to I don't even know where at
Jumping
those
couches.
points. We will get to FC Dallas in 1 second. But as you look ahead, and you mentioned this, the way Stefan Frey talked about this game and their performance, there is a little bit of reason for concern. They may get RSL, they may get Portland. They will get them at CenturyLink Field. What should they be concerned about? What do you guys look at and say, that's just not right. That can't happen. That can't continue in these playoffs.
Leaky defense.
Yeah.
It's not being compact, not being organized. You're giving teams opportunities to take chances that shouldn't happen. When you guys are organized and you have the right people in front of you and you're shielding people, making play predictable, then it's much easier to defend, especially at home. But they're giving people time and space to make those passes, to get out to the wide areas and whip in crosses. So that's an area of concern for me with the Seattle team.
The big thing for me, too, is they had no answer as far as how to solve this press. And FC Dallas in the second half locked them in that half. And the only thing that the Sounders could try and do is to play long. They abandoned trying to play through the midfield because every time they did, they couldn't get out. And that's where I would say if they play a team like Real Salt Lake that has the bodies, can cause problems, that would be the concern for me with Seattle.
Maybe the Timbers as well. We know the Timbers like to play on the road. They will do that tonight. We'll see if they can advance. Let's go out to CenturyLink Field and get some thoughts from Reggie Cannon after this loss for FC Dallas.
Youngest MLS roster. I mean, that's 3 words that just, they kind of make you wonder how a team like that got this far. With a lack of experience, a lack of veteran, and leadership. It's something that these guys have in them, and in a couple of years it's going to show. This team is capable of winning so much, and players like Paxton, Brandon Cervania, Jesus Ferreira, getting those minutes and showing what they're truly capable of. This is that's football to me. And so that's why I couldn't be proud of this group, because regardless of all the percentages, whatever you want to call it, this team fought with every ounce of their being, and it just didn't bounce away, but I know next time it will.
Yeah, I mean, you just heard Reggie Cannon there talking about the youngest team in MLS, but a lot of the problems for Dallas in this one, at least early, was with some of their veteran play. And right here you have your two center backs, Matt Hedges, who's not even on the screen at this point. This is Matt Hedges down at the bottom of the screen. And then Rito Ziegler. If you're pressing, if you have your fullbacks way up high, you have to be tight together. You have to be ready to win second balls, and you have to be in a line. You can't let this team get out on the run. That press in the first, that was so good in the second half for FC Dallas. In the first half, it was a disaster, and it led to Jordan Morris's first goal, the goal that we thought was going to be game over. Now, a nice finish by Jordan Morris, but you can't let him get out on the run in the second place. And then the second half, in the dying minutes of the game, in second half of extra time, Dallas are wasted. They just have no energy left, and they're trying to bunker in. And if you're going to bunker in, you have to be really tight in your lines, and you have to communicate, and you have to understand where the danger is going to come from. And the whole goal of any team facing a bunker is to try to get into this area right here in between the lines. And if you watch Brian Acosta, the defensive midfielder, he just takes his eye off of Victor Rodriguez for a second. Rodriguez is going to pop out into space, going to get on the ball, and suddenly Ryan Hollingshead has to come out and make a challenge. He doesn't make it, and suddenly it's a scrum in the box. Look, there's nothing about this play that is designed for the Sounders, but if you're going to win in the playoffs, you have to put yourself in positions where you get guys into the box, and maybe you get a goal off a scrum. And if you're defending deep, you have to do the little things right. In the first half, Dallas were defending high. They didn't do the little things right. In the second half, they were defending low. They didn't do the little things right. That's why the Sounders are moving on, guys.
Yeah, missing some of those details. They still had an incredible performance, though, based on expectations. Benny, what did you make of this game for FC Dallas and their future?
Yeah, I think that I would echo what Reggie Cannon said in their young team. Their young team, there's going to be mistakes. There were plenty of them in this game. They also showed a lot of positive signs. And so, he had a good game. Paxton Pomykal comes in, and I thought he played well coming off the bench. I know he wasn't fully healthy to play from the start, but there's guys on that team that have shown promise that I think will continue to develop. And if they're able to maintain that core of young players, and that team should really, take a step up next year.
But they need better from the veterans. Yep. And we saw that defending, and then we saw at the end of regulation time, like they got out on the break and they had a chance to win. And you're going to see this breakaway right here. It's going to end up on the foot of their DP, D-mid, Brian Acosta. And he, just square the ball. Just square the ball at this point, because Santi Mascara is all alone. And, all of us screamed in unison when he shot that into the stands, because if you're going to win on the road in the playoffs, you need your veterans, you need your highest paid players to be your best players. And for Dallas, it just didn't happen today.
Didn't happen. 4-3 win for the Seattle Sounders. We said in the pregame, these guys are gamers. Well, when the game mattered, they made the plays that mattered.